Welcome to the DTF Printing Podcast. I'm Adrienne Palmer, Editor-in-Chief of DTF Printing. I'm here with Marshall Atkinson of Atkinson Consulting and ShiRTLab. Today we're discussing the benefits of using Midjourney at your DTF print business. Hey, Marshall.
Hey, Adrienne. Thanks for having me on the show. I can't wait to get into it. You know, Midjourney is my little bromance I got going on, right? And it's so much fun. And as you know, I love talking about it, right? So thanks for the opportunity.
Of course. Let's just dig right into it. Let's talk Midjourney. How do you use it? How does it work?
So Midjourney is an AI creation tool, right? So, and I want everybody to think of it as a tool. So you're already probably using Photoshop or Illustrator or CorelDRAW or the Affinity programs, or you're using something to create with, even Canva, right? We're reusing stuff. So Midjourney is another thing that you can have in your creation arsenal to develop images. And the benefit of Midjourney is it's incredibly fast. Okay. And hopefully later in the program here, I'll show you some stuff, but it's incredibly fast. And there are other software programs out there. There's a Diagram, there's DALL-E 3, there's Stable Diffusion. There's a lot of these. And I have focused on Midjourney. I use them all. I'm always playing around with stuff because I frankly am a curious person by nature and I want to learn. But what I found is that Midjourney gives you the best images. And as a former art director, that's what I want. I want some badass images because I know, I'm not SNS Activewear or Sanmar. We don't sell a lot of blank stuff. Okay. We need something to put on the shirt, right? And Midjourney gives us a really great image. And it doesn't do everything perfect, and it's not going to, right? And so what I want people, when they start using this tool, to kind of understand that it's going to create something that's you can use, you can edit really quickly in whatever program you use, and then it will be perfect, right? So kind of the idea that I explained, like in the class that I did for you at the DTF Expo, was I want you to imagine you're playing in a football game and you're catching the ball in your own end zone, and you take it out of the end zone and you run it all the way down the field, 93 yards to the 7-yard line, and you get tackled there. The crowd goes crazy. Everybody loves to play, but guess what? You still haven't scored any points yet. You still got to do a couple plays to punch it in for a touchdown. Midjourney is just like that. It's going to get you all the way down to that 7-yard line. You're still going to have to put your logo on it. You're still going to have to maybe change something or delete something or edit something. It's not going to be perfect. And so don't get hung up on the fact that it's got this weird little thing in the corner, because you can take that out in 10 seconds. So what we want to be looking at is trying to get where we want. Okay. Now, Midjourney and these other tools are going to, if you haven't started using them yet, are going to be really awkward and weird. And why do I say that, Adrienne? It's because when you're using Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever you use, you know where the pen tool is, or the airbrush tool, or the filter tool, the blur tool, the text tool, whatever. You know where all the stuff is because you've been doing it for years and years and years. I know where all these tools are too. Midjourney and DALL-E 3 and Ideogram and all these things, they all work the same way with word prompts. So the outcome you get is based on what? It's based on your vocabulary, right? So now, unless you're an English nerd, you might not have a good enough vocabulary to describe what you want out of the program. Okay. And there's all these little tricks and stuff in anything, right? In everything we have. And so Midjourney certainly has those, right? And I would recommend that you when you're using these tools, adopt a playful mindset. You're willing to fail. You're willing to make mistakes, because that's where the learning is going to come from. And you can just type in random letters like a cat crawled across your keyboard, and it will give you a result. Okay. But if you're looking for something specific, you need to type in the words to get that specific result. And if you don't get kind of what was in your mind's eye, more than likely it wasn't the program, it was the words you put in, right? So this is where Google comes in play. Mother Google knows all, as we know, right? And then also a thesaurus. So when we use a word like minimalist, right? If that isn't working, can we use Spartan or austere or simple or something like that? And maybe we get a better result than what you got, right? So you need to like keep playing with stuff until you get exactly what you want. But let me tell you, a lot of times Midjourney will surprise you. If you let it drive the car, it'll give you a really fun result. A lot of times it might be even better than what you wanted. And that's the fun part about it, right? So I do like to dispel a myth real quick. Can I do that?
Of course. Yeah. Let's hear it.
A lot of people think Midjourney and these other tools are copying other people's work. You've probably heard that, right? Mm-hmm. So what it's not doing, it's not a copy and paste situation. So Midjourney and all of these tools start off with random noise. Like you ever seen the movie Poltergeist?
Yes.
Have you seen that movie? You know that there's a scene where the little girl turns on the TV and it's all static, right? And she turns the camera and says they're here, right? Yeah. It's that static that I'm talking about. That's what Midjourney starts with. It starts off with random noise. And then every word that you put in there, it assigns a math formula. And I don't know how that works because that's way beyond my smarts, okay? It assigns a math formula to turn the color red into math. Red horse, blue sky, right? All of these are words that get turned into a math formula. And so it's a large language model AI generator. So that means it's been trained on stuff. And what it's been trained on is every image on the internet. So how many images do you think are on the internet? Okay.
1 trillion.
So when you type in red or horse or blue or sky, what it does is it knows based on its survey what red looks like, what a horse looks like. Okay. And it uses images and what's called an image to text pair. So when there's an image of a horse, somewhere in that it says horse. Okay. And then it knows, okay, that's a horse. Okay. And it'll just give you any random horse. But if you want a black horse with a white spot on the forehead, you have to type that in just like that. Otherwise, you're not going to get that. Right. Mm-hmm. So the more specific you are with your prompts, the better results you're going to get that match kind of what's in your mind. Right. And so what it does is it takes all of those words that you put in, converts it to an algorithm, and then puts that into that random noise, and then it's going to generate an image based on that. Now, here's the fun part. Even with the same prompts, you will never get the results twice. If I give you the prompt, you'll never get the thing that I made, ever. Because it starts off with random noise, right? It's not starting off with a picture. It's not copying, like we want a horse painted like Picasso. Picasso probably made a horse, right? But it's not copying that painting. It's copying the aesthetic of Picasso. It knows the aesthetic of that, but it's not copying his work exactly, right? Mm-hmm. And if you don't put that in as part of your prompts, you're not going to get that as a result. So it only kind of gives you what you asked for a little bit. And if it doesn't know, it's going to go to some general kind of a thing. It's really made to make things look pretty. And one of the big things with Midjourney is it always makes people look supermodel gorgeous, right? And maybe that's not what we want. And so the fun part is trying to make people look like average, normal people, right? But it's a lot of fun. And what's really great about it, and especially for our industry, is we can use these as tools to create stuff that didn't exist before. So instead of relying on stock photography, instead of relying on image packages for wood grain or concrete or whatever, you can create your own. You can create your own textures, you can create your own backgrounds, you can create your own whatever that you can use to play with for your business. And the great thing about people that are doing DTF is, of course, that we're digitally printing stuff. So we really have a really wide color palette, right? We can't do all colors because we're at the limit of, the printer that we have and the color gamut that you can use. But what's really great is we're not limited to like 3 colors or something. And we can print a lot of really crazy, cool, detailed things and make them just wonderful, right? Mm-hmm. And with a tool like Midjourney, there's a couple things that a viewer of this might think about, or a listener might think about, which is we can take, let's say we have a logo and we want to make that a white logo and we want to do a circle, a shape behind it, and we're going to put that on a hat or a shirt or something, okay? We can create our own texture, pattern, something that goes behind that logo, or maybe even paste it inside of that logo so it looks cool, right? So let's say we're doing something for Veterans Day, right? For the school. You've got the school logo, okay? What if we made our own digit camo pattern and pasted that inside of the school's logo, right? This is a minute's worth of work to create that image. And then you could use that school's colors for the digicamo. So you aren't limited just to military green colors. What if the color of the school was blue and yellow? You can make a digicamo pattern that's blue and yellow. And then now you've got something specific for that school that you could use that's really great. And it doesn't take you hardly any time to create and iterate that, right? And so that's the really fun part. And the cool thing about Midjourney is you can create a lot of images really quickly, right? So what do you think? Did I explain that okay?
Well, you lost me at football, but you brought me back when you said English nerd. So I'm right there with you. No, you explained it great. Thank you, Marshall. And I think that's when you were kind of saying it's taking you to whatever football phrase you use that I don't understand, but you take it yourself to the finish line. And I kind of look at that as a little bit of AI in general. For example, ChatGPT, I will maybe use it if I can't find the right phrase for a question for an interview. I'll kind of put in some prompts and it will come up with a question that's good, but then I make it a little bit better. Or maybe a couple bullet points for a meeting. Great. That got me on the right path. Now I know exactly what I was trying to do. We brainstorm so often in this industry in so many different levels. I feel like this is a really elevated brainstorming tool. And then you as a designer can make it that A+ artwork.
So you're going to make it your own. You're still going to edit it. You're still going to have your thing in it. Now, what's really cool about Midjourney is that you can use some commands where we're at a time limit on the show. Otherwise, I could talk about it more in depth. But you can assign some commands in Midjourney so it looks like your work. Right. So if you have a certain aesthetic, you can actually use some ideas to say, hey, Midjourney, I want things to look like this. And then you will get that result back. Right now, it won't be like you sat there and drew it, but it'll be really close to how you think or something that you like. Right. And so there's a lot of really cool things you can be doing with Midjourney that allows you to get exactly what you want. And I think probably if you got a minute, maybe it's easier to show you than just sit here and talk, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for our audio listeners, you can follow along, but we definitely urge you to head to our YouTube channel, DTFprinting.com, to see the demo that Marshall is going to give to us.
Right. So if you're just starting out with Midjourney, you're probably going to be on Discord, okay? So Discord, a lot of people use Discord as kind of a meeting grounds for stuff. there's a lot of folks that are used to using Discord, but this is where Midjourney started, right? And new people, you're going to have to start with Discord. If you're a power user like I am, they're allowing people to start using their alpha site, which is no longer on Discord. And frankly, it's all the same. Most of the tools, not all the tools, but most of the tools are here. And it simply works faster. That's where I play. And we don't know when Midjourney is going to quit using Discord and just everybody's going to go to their website platform. But my guess is sometime this year, right? We just don't know. They're very cagey about it. I don't know. So I kind of show both platforms. They work exactly the same. I like to do stuff on the alpha platform because it's faster, but the Discord works just as well, right? Let me hide that. So let's say we're going to create a logo, okay? So let me just quickly show you some logos that I've done. We'll say lion, right? And if we wanted to do something for a school, let's say, here's one, right? Here's the prompt, and I'll just make some new ones, okay? So, and we're going to change this up a little bit. So we'll say lion's text, futuristic style. Let's say retro style. We're going to change it up a little bit. Retro style. And do I have a color in here? Royal blue and white. We're going to say red. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in what I call permutations, right? So now each of these prompts, remember, is a math. It's converted to math, okay? So we want lions in a text. We want it to be kind of bold. We're kind of one of a crest kind of look. We want a retro style, so it kind of has a little vintagey look, right? Outlines, we want it to look a 2D logo. We want it to look kind of sporty, iconic, one color, okay, just red and white, monochrome. And then what we want is we use these curly brackets in it, and then we can assign numbers to how much creativity that Midjourney is going to give us. And so it starts off with 0 and it goes all the way to 1,000, and we can use any number we want, okay? And the higher the number, the crazier the results get. The lower the number, the more things kind of stick to our prompts, right? So we're just going to do, we're going to go up by 50, right? So 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600. All right, just make sure, and they're very picky on the spelling and stuff. Make sure everything's right. All right, so this is going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 times 4 is what? 84 images, right? So as soon as they hit go, right, it's going to give us a lot of stuff, right? And the reason I like the platform here is that some of these results aren't going to be good. Okay, look, he's got 2 L's right here, right? Some of them are going to be great. We just don't know. And Midjourney doesn't handle type very well. Ideogram, by the way, handles type way better than Midjourney, but the images that you get aren't really great. Okay, but what we want to do is we want to create a lot of images. And that way, if we're imagining this is going to be some sort of DTF for maybe that high school team, right? There's a couple of these that the further we go up and no higher level, we get better looking art, but maybe the words aren't quite right? Mm-hmm. We can always replace these in Illustrator, like the word lions here. But getting this image, right? might be really hard to do without a lot of work. We can typeset lions real easy. So this is what I mean, where we can just delete this part in Illustrator, and then we can add our own lions in it, and it's perfect. You know, even though we got the David Bowie look with the two different eye colors, you know.
Right.
But, you know, let's just scroll through these, and let's start off at the top here. And, you know, and so imagine these are something that you're going to use and you're going to play around with. Now, what I'm going to scroll down, and you tell me, Adrian, if you like it, and then we'll start playing with some. Okay.
Okay. Can I pick anything? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, just shout out, play with that one, whatever.
Okay, keep going. One more. All right, I like that. It feels very school mascot. Yeah, it feels like it's like actually the mascot who's at the basketball game or.
Yeah, so this is the lions.
Right. Incorrect
here's
spelling.
What we can do, right? Here's what we can do. We'll hit very subtle, and we'll create a couple more that are kind of like this. And we can also hit very strong. These are these buttons right here. Okay. We can also do remix, right? This is remix subtle, where the prompt will come up, and then we can change something, right? So we'll say front view, right? Now, we just asked Midjourney to make a whole bunch of new stuff based on that image. You can see all the new ones.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, right? So there's so many different variations of what we just saw.
Yeah, and hopefully it spells the word lions right in some of these. Like here's one. It did it. Look, lions. Okay.
Perfect.
Now, it's the type. You know, let me tell you, if you're a guy who really, or a woman who really wants particular type, a particular font, a particular kerning or whatever, you're better off just creating the lion by itself and then adding the text later, right?
Sure.
But we know that we can take this type out in 30 seconds in any other program, okay? I wouldn't get hung up on the text isn't perfect. Right. So to me, what is going to sell the shirt is going to be the lion. Right. If it's a cool looking, and we didn't even say angry lion. It's not even growling or anything. These are kind of like super proud looking, you know, red eyed demon lions, I guess. Right. But you know, that one's kind of cool.
I was just curious what you're hearing from graphic designers in this space. Are they almost similar to how maybe screen printers may or may not feel about DTF printing being addition to their shop or the downfall of the apparel society? Do you feel like graphic designers are saying this is an awesome addition, or they want to stick tried and true with the artistry of their skill and their talent level?
Well, some people, they want to draw the lion because that's their creativity and they're known for their style. Okay.
Sure.
I totally get that. I totally respect people who want to draw the stuff. Okay.
Sure.
But let me tell you, that client, that high school, okay, they probably don't care who designs the thing as long as it looks cool. So what I'm hearing, okay, is people who have a lot of work to do. They're really super busy. They have a dozen designs they have to finish today, right? So if you're spending 2 hours illustrating a lion, okay, this will take a really long time to design and draw and color and whatever. Or we can start off on the 7-yard line and run a couple plays and it's perfect. Okay. And so that's what I'm hearing is the people who are more business minded are using this tool as a place to get more done. And people, of course, they see the fear. They see, you know, this is replacing me. Okay. And what I'm going to say to you as a designer, I'm a designer. I'm an extra art director. I still do designs. Okay. This is not going to replace you. It's going to augment you if you know how to use it and what you're trying to do. Right. And because it's not going to be perfect, it still needs somebody with an eye. Look at all these lions we got, right? You're going to send one of these to your customer. Which one do you pick? Which one is exactly right? Which one is something that you want to play with or do something with or whatever, right? It's still going to take somebody who knows how to do this stuff to make it work. That's where we are. It's not perfect, and it probably won't ever be perfect because we don't really know what's, where things will end up, Yeah. But what's really cool, right, is if you get something that looks really, this looks pretty good, right? We can make more of them. Now we've got it that it spells lions right, hopefully. We can make more, and we can keep pushing the image. And we can keep re-rolling it and redoing things. And it doesn't take hardly any time to look at all these that I just made, right? It doesn't take hardly any time to make these.
From the business standpoint, that was an interesting comment you made. And it made me think back to our friend, Davis Slagle. He was on the DTF Printing Podcast, episode 12, if anyone wants to hear it. But when I asked him specifically, because he moved entirely to DTF printing, I said, what are your thoughts on people on the screen printing side saying that they're losing the artistry or et cetera? And he said, I'm in the business of printing shirts. Like, it's a business for me. And I think that is an interesting that you brought this up for Midjourney as well, is kind of separating sometimes the art and the business, and then also being able to bring it all together. Because at the end of the day, I think that they both are so vital to the entire apparel industry, but DTF is just an addition and a help. And so is Midjourney.
Yeah. Well, so here's that, and that's a great viewpoint here. Okay. And it's because, to me, there is no wrong answer. So if your business is known because you're a fantastic artist, you should be getting paid for that. Hopefully you're getting paid because you're a fantastic artist. And I don't mean, $20 an hour. I mean, you're really seriously making lots of money. Okay. But I know this industry doesn't really pay our artists a whole lot of money. Okay. And you've got apps out there like Fiverr and whatever. What do you think they're using to create all this stuff?
Sure.
Okay. So we can create and curate really quickly. Okay. And so to me, the business end of this means let's get something that the client is really going to love. Now, check this image out right here. Like, I don't like that little circle with all that little whatever that is on the left-hand side.
Same.
I don't like that. I would delete that. I can delete that in Photoshop in no time.
Sure.
Okay. Right. And maybe, the lion, isn't perfect or whatever. Maybe I don't like the typeface. Maybe there's other things I might want to change. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put some stuff on it. And then it's going to be a good for the use that I want. Okay. Like, for example, if you're doing this, maybe you're doing, you can do this and maybe it needs to be simplified and you're going to make an embroidery patch out of it. Okay. What would you do? You would take a lot of these lines and all this stuff out, right? For DTF, right? You could probably spend a couple minutes here and it'll be perfect. And then you could be printing it, So there's a lot of really great things that we could be doing here. Right.
Right.
So let's make a pattern. Okay. And I'm going to, just for the sake of time, I'm just going to pick a floral pattern. And let's go to archive and, floral. And we'll pick something that looks really cool. Here you go. Let's do a floral pattern with a parrot. How about that? Imagine if you had to design that for a DTF, right?
Right.
Let's run some more of these, right? And we won't do as many.
And Marshall, what's the cost for those who are using this platform? Is it a monthly fee or do you play?
Yeah, so there's a monthly fee and it's based on how much GPU time you want. So if you're a casual user, it starts off at $8 a month. If you're somebody who uses it like all day long, you're going to want one of the top programs. And it's like $100. The processing time is what you're paying for. And if you run out of GPU time, Midjourney say, hey, you ran out of time. Would you like to buy some more? Okay. So to me, don't buy more than you're using. So let's say, you've got a bar that's doing a luau and they want a logo, a thing for the back of the shirt, right? I just did that. You saw me do it in a minute. Mm-hmm. You put the bar's name in the middle and then you delete the green background, right? And then now you've got a really awesome design that they're going to love and you spent zero time on it. Mm-hmm. We can make anything, right, with this, right?
It's pretty wild to think about.
Right. Let's say we're doing something for a carpenter shop, right? We want to do oak, wood grain, and high contrast. And we'll say background. And we got some buttons we can play with too, by the way. We can do a horizontal look, right? And if you don't do all the crazy permutations like I did, it gives you 4. Okay.
Okay.
So imagine you needed a wood grain to put inside of a shape. There you go.
Cool.
And if you don't like that one, maybe you wanted more of a straight wood grain, we could put words in that will get that, like wood paneling or something, right? And or we could do old barn door, right? Old barn door. Whoops, spell it right. Door, weathered wood, vintage background. I'll use background so you get the right texture, right? It's not like the door. And here we go, right? And of course it'll make whatever, okay?
Yeah.
We didn't tell it what color wood, and of course, it's because a lot of barn doors are red, right? Mm-hmm. But here we go. Here's a barn door.
Right. So it's just, very being, again, that English nerd, the vocabulary, which, the thesaurus.com is my, in my bookmarks. I use it all the time to find, synonyms and just expand your vocabulary. And this seems like the perfect tool for that.
Yeah. So here's what I have. I have a spreadsheet. These are prompts that I've tried in Midjourney. Okay. And where are we up to? We're up to 937.
Wow.
These are words that I've tried, right? Okay. And sometimes they put the definition. What does it mean, right? And so it's just trying to get the result that you want. And here's a great tip is use words from photography, that whole discipline, right? Use words from printing, quad tone, monotone, chromacity, high definition, high saturation, whatever. These are all going to give you different results. Also different art techniques. If, we do a 2024 Ford Bronco woodcut style on mountain trail, and we'll say hand-colored block print, color degradation. I guess it's kind of a vintage thing. And then we'll say circular design because we want it where, the Ford dealership wants us to design something cool. And we'll say flat, white background, isolated.
What's the feedback you're getting from DTF printers? What are they saying? Your DTF Expo session went over by 30 minutes because people were so engaged. I'm just curious what people are saying once they really dig into it, just like you're doing right now.
Well, once they start, they're hooked, right? So it's a lot like crack or something, right? Once you start playing with this stuff, you can't stop, okay? And you're going to make some really great stuff. And you're going to keep playing and using it because you can come up with some really great things. But what I'll tell you is it's not perfect and it drives you crazy. So Midjourney is a genius 4-year-old, right? So we wanted a 2024 Ford Bronco. That really looks like one from 1967, right? So, So it's one of these things where you get really good results, but it's not the result that we want. We still got to, here's one that's more modern looking, right? We still got to keep playing with it, right? And
yeah, because you mentioned there's always going to be one little thing that's a little off. And I think the big things we see are, the 6 fingers or...
Well, sometimes you get 6 fingers. They've kind of corrected that mostly.
Okay.
But let me tell you, that's why I create a lot of stuff at once. Because if you're just working off one result, then you got to change it. And then you got to change it. And then you got to change it. When you get 60 or 70 done at one time, right, you can scroll through here and find the ones that you really like. And then you start playing with them.
Sure.
And then what do we want? What do we ask for? What color is the truck? Do we like one that's in the circle? Do we like the ones with the trees coming out of the circle? I mean, do we, here's one that looks more modern, we hit that a couple times and let's find another one that we kind of like, maybe this one, right? And then just by clicking these, in fact, you didn't even have to go into the close-up. You can do it right from here, right? So I can make more images, and then the more you make, the more they get dialed into, do we want the rear end of the truck so it's going away from us? Here's one that, kind of like that one here, I don't know. Like, what do we really want? We really like this one. Okay, great. And so the more you keep playing with stuff, the more fine-tuned things get and the better you get with it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that could be, is this truck exactly a Ford Bronco exactly? I think it needs another door, right? So maybe we need to, there's a thing that we can do is we can upload a photo to use as a reference. That's called a C-ref. In fact, let's do that.
So you can just plug that in, and then that gives it even more of a descriptor, more so than even the vocabulary that's being plugged in.
Yeah. So we do the prompt, right? And then we do C-ref. Then we paste in our image.
Yeah, I mean, you're really tailoring exactly what you need. And, from just looking at this, maybe just from my perspective, it's like, oh, yeah, that looks like a Jeep, works for me. But you can really get into the nitty gritty.
So
I see. That's cool.
There you go. So I pasted the image in that we got from the web, and now we've got all 4 doors.
Awesome. Yeah. Now that's a big change from what was provided before.
But still, it's not perfect. Look, we've got 2 without them and 2 with them. Right. So let me tell you, you got to play with it. Right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect, right? But let me tell you, this is a closer example of a Ford Bronco than the one we had, right? So the more I goof around with this, in fact, you can add more images. You can put 3 or 4 or 5 images in here so it has more of what you want. We can also give it weight to the images, which I'm not even explaining. So there's a lot of stuff in here that we can be kind of monkeying around with. But let's say that you like this, that your customer like this can be instantly a full back transfer with no issues. And imagine, like the local Ford dealership logo right here in the sky, right? And then when you buy that $60,000 truck, you get a t-shirt.
That's cool.
We could be doing lots of stuff. Midjourney is super powerful. But let me tell you, the more you play with it, the better you're going to get at it. And it's all based on the words you're using and the techniques that you use and just different stuff, right?
Cool. Yeah.
Here's another thing before we go. I know we're running out of time. So Midjourney gives you, by default, this image, if you downloaded it, is a 72 DPI at 1024 by 1024, which is a very mediocre file, all right? If we upscale it, there's 2 levels of upscale subtle and upscale creative. It gives you the same type of resolution, but upscale creative changes it a little bit. It kind of smooths out the rough edges, if you will. But let me tell you, it takes forever for it to upscale it. It's one of the big drawbacks, I think. And but the image that you can download once it's downloadable here is going to be twice the size. So it's going to be 72 DPI by 2048 by 2048, right? If that's still not good enough because you're going to resample it at 300 DPI, I would suggest using a platform called Gigapixel, which is what I use when I want really super high resolution stuff. Gigapixel is about $100 a month. And it uses AI to interpret images and add in what it thinks is missing into the resolution when you upscale it. And you can multiply this file size by up to 6 times.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So you can get an enormous file.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
absolutely.
talking, it's 72 DPI, but it's 100 megs and it's over 100 inches and just this crazy huge thing. You don't need that in this industry. You just need a decent 300 DPI file. This will work fine. It's finished. Let's see the difference. So here's upscale creative. Here's upscale subtle, right? Mm-hmm. So you notice how the upscale creative smoothed out a lot of the stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
It made it look a little, I don't know, rough, less, rough, I guess. I don't know which one you like better. I like that one that's kind of rough and crazy rather than the old smooth, But it's all a personal, subjective thing anyway.
Exactly. I mean, that's art. Well, this has been a great demo, Marshall. Thank you for actually showing us how this works. I know of an event coming up in the next few months where people can really learn about Midjourney. Can you share what ShirtLab is, ShirtLab Tribe? And by the time this airs, ShirtLab Austin will have taken place. But I know there's ShirtLab Nashville coming down the pike, and that's all about Midjourney.
So, all right. So ShirtLab, if you guys don't know, ShirtLab is a movement that a couple people, Tom Rowan with 1-800-Tees and Allie Banholzer with Warrior Spirit Warehouse, we're the owners of ShirtLab. And ShirtLab is all about raising the bar in the industry through education. Our role here is to help people understand how to do things better and to give you not just theory, but tactical ways that you can make your business better. I think the trade shows are great. I'm a big fan of trade shows. I think they totally missed the bar on a lot of the stuff. And I think a lot of the industry events that the industry has, they do these big sweeping things, but they miss the bar on giving shops tactical things to make their business better. So, for example, they'll have a chef come in and talk about what it's like to be great as a chef or whatever. But you know what they're not doing? They're not teaching you how to use Instagram or how to do help with your lead generation. They're not giving the tools that we really need. And that's what we do with ShirtLab. So everything we do with ShirtLab is on that, right? We have a couple events that we do throughout the year. We have live events. We also have virtual events. So we're having a live event in Austin in April, and this podcast comes out after that. So you missed it. Sorry. But we've got some future stuff coming up. So we have our ShirtLab Summit, which I think you've participated in before, which is a big online discussion about a topic. That's going to come up probably in Q3. We've got a live event that's going to come up in August in Nashville. This is going to be focused on all about art. So the art is going to be art workflow, how to do simulated process steps. That's not DTF, that's screen printing. And then also how to use Midjourney to create images. So those 3 things. We don't have a location or a sign up yet. We should have that relatively soon. So just watch the internet for that. I'm sure it'll be all over once we do that. And then that's going to be an event where you're going to need to bring your laptop. We're not going to provide computers. So if you we want you to get that. We're going to have test files, and you're going to take the test file and separate it. Or we're going to give some Midjourney ideas, and we want you to create. We're going to give you actual things you're going to be doing on your laptop in class with people walking around going, yeah, use more blue or whatever, right? So that's the goal of that class, is to really educate people on how to do things better. And that's what we're about. And the last thing is ShirtLab Tribe. ShirtLab Tribe is our mastermind group that I know you know all about, but it's a fun group of shops. It's about 200 or so shops in this country, and frankly, we have some in other countries. And it's really about helping each other. It's a community that is a safe space to ask a newbie question and not get killed by it. Okay. So if you've ever posted something on Facebook and all of a sudden it feels like somebody's hitting you with a mallet in your head, that's not what we're about, right? Yeah. That's totally uncool, right? We're about helping folks. So we have our own private Facebook group. We have a platform called Circle, which is where we house all of our videos and workshops and everything. And then we have live office hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The Tuesday one is hosted by me, and that's at 5 o'clock Eastern every Tuesday. And then Allie Banholzer, who is a Lean Six Sigma black belt badass, she hosts the one on Thursdays at 12:30 Eastern. And if you need accountability, go to Allie's session. She wants the best out of everybody in there, right? And she'll hold you accountable. So that's great. And then and we have a lot of people who've met friends, and and we have a whole group of folks when they go to a trade show or they go to anything, they get an Airbnb and hang out, and that's because they met at ShirtLab, right? That's like the power, right? Not saying that everybody's going to meet their best friend at ShirtLab, but it's happened a lot, right? So, and you've been to our events. What do you think about them?
Oh, yeah. I always say if anyone is looking to really hone in on the business side, marketing side, sales, that's the event to go to, because everyone who's speaking is in the space and they're proof of success in those areas. And I've always thought that the apparel industry is maybe lacking on the business side. Everyone kind of started their business small and then grew, and it's like, oh, I'm making $1 million. How do I even handle this? And there's so much to it. Like you mentioned, I need a class on Instagram. I need a class on Instagram, but so many of us do. So I think the events are great, and the community alone is so awesome. And then I just have to plug Tom and Allie, your co-owners. If anyone wants to learn more about Tom Rowan, he was on the podcast, episode 7. And then Allie Banholzer is a shop profile feature on our website. So you can learn more about them. And make sure you sign up, join the Facebook group, meet them at events, go to ShirtLab. It's a really great benefit to the industry.
Yeah, well, thanks. And before we go, if you're interested in Midjourney, you can follow me on Instagram. It's just my name, Marshall Atkinson. And then every day, almost every day, some days I don't, but almost every day, I'm sharing some crazy image that I made, and I give you the prompts so you can try it at home. And here's what you look for is completely ignore whatever the subject is, because that's not what I'm playing with. I'm not trying to make an eagle, right? I'm using the prompts. The eagle is just the subject. The prompts are what I'm playing with. So look at the words that I'm using. That's my real experiment. And some of the words you're going to go, I've never heard of that ever. Where did that word come from? And so I did a video game treasure chest yesterday, and the prompts I use come from really esoteric art terms. And I was trying to make like a glowing chest so it looked like blown glass. So I used a glass blowing prompt.
Okay.
Right, as one of the prompts, right? Which was Murini, by the way, Murrini. And how did I discover that? I'm just like looking on the internet for weird words to play with.
Right.
Look at what I'm doing, ignore the subject, just look at the prompts, and then how is it working with whatever the subject is? And then think about that if you're trying to create something, whether it's Midjourney or any of the other tools, they all work the same. Like, what are you getting? And then also, if you really want to go far in Midjourney, please subscribe to my newsletter. You can just go to midjourneyexperience.com. I publish every week. It's $12 a month or $100 for the year. And it's full of articles and videos and how-tos and inspiration and sometimes stories from people about how they're using the tool or whatever. And I give a lot of really great ways that you can use it. And it gets delivered to your inbox weekly, and lots of really good stuff in there. So check it out, midjourneyexperience.com, and hope to see you. And I teach Midjourney at a lot of the trade shows. So if you're there, come find me, take my class. I'd love to show you. So
yeah, wow, Marshall, so many tools. I mean, honestly, just pick your route, pick your poison, however you want to connect with Marshall and learn more about Midjourney. You have Instagram, ShirtLab Tribe, your newsletter, and all the education sessions you provide, like you did at DTF Expo. So thank you, Marshall. Right. I learned a lot. This is really fascinating. And I know that this is just another tool for people to streamline, automate, grow their business. I love it.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate you.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Marshall. We'll catch you on the next episode of the DTF Printing Podcast. In the meantime, head to DTFprinting.com to discover new ways to grow your DTF print business. Thanks for listening.